The show begins in ancient Rome, where we the viewers witnessed a man in debt, begging for his life. Just as he did so, a man named Tinax then walked in and ordered his men to finish the old man off, which they gladly did so. The scene shifted and we get to know who Tinax was from his narration. Tinax is the owner of a betting tavern and operator of gambling operations for the gladiatorial games. He narrated to us on how to place a bet in tavern, which is his company. There are 4 horse racing teams one can put their money on, which are the green, white, red, and blue factions. All the shares has been owned by the nobility and senators of Rome, which gives them unimaginable wealth. He concluded by saying all this are about to change soon. Meanwhile, Tinax narrates to us that after their emperor named Nero had died, there was a bloody civil war, and this was a period known to mankind as the year of 4 emperors, as 4 generals wanted to become ruler of the mighty Roman Empire, and the last one standing was General Flavius Vespasian, who rebuilt the city after he became an emperor, while also making it a giant sport arena in order to appease the mob. Vespasian, along with his sons, the politician Domitian, his youngest, and the general Titus, his eldest, marked the beginning of the Flavian dynasty. Vespasian then announced to his nobles about his refusal to sell shares of the amphitheater, declaring it to be for the citizens of Rome. This new decision brings enough worries to them about the Flavians, threatening their existence and redirecting the wealth from the older arena, Circus Maximus, to the new one. Meanwhile, in Numidia, which is the Roman province of northern Africa, a young girl named Ora is seen playing with her sister named Jula, only for a young soldier to come into their home and began harassing them. In an attempt to break free from him, the elder sister then stabbed him from behind, leading to his death. Just then, his fellow soldier then came in, witnessing his death. They explained to the soldier, but they seemed not to care about her explanation for her actions, as now she had not just eliminated a soldier but a legionary who is a Roman citizen. The both siblings are then taken to Rome as slaves for killing a Roman soldier in self-defense. Their mother Calla goes home to meet her daughter, only to see stains of blood in her home. Calla is a Numidian trader, so she immediately gathers her resources and head to Rome. While we see her son Quan hunts a lion for the Romans, as they pay higher for a hunted lion. They'd all surrounded the lion, who also fought back, but Quam set a trap for it, which was done successfully before asking for the lion forgiveness. The scene shifted to Ostia Harbor, which is the port of Rome. A young man complained about how the ship captain is handling his horses, so he decided to do it himself. Nearby, trouble erupted in the city as the empire struggles to transport grain, leading to widespread starvation, which then led to a huge spark, which then ignites into a widespread of riot and protests throughout the city towards Palatine Hill, the imperial palace. Domitian suggests starting a distraction for the masses in order to divert their attention, and thus the bells ring to signal the beginning of the games, causing the people to scramble to watch the match. Nearby, Tinax prepares for the betting of the games and compels Scorpus, even when they are not ready for a race until the next 2 days. So we meet the hero of the games and a renowned champion to participate, drawing in a huge number of bettors. They prepare Scorpus for the race, Scorpus, who looked very drunk but believed is well fit for the game. We get to see Tinax informing the peasant that Scorpus would be participating, and obviously, majority of the people placed their bet on him, while some made fun of them as they bet on Xenon. At Well of Augurs, a young man named Rufus, who is with Tinax, goes to visit a prophetess for predictions on the course of the game. She predicted who the winner was going to be, so as per what she had said, Rufus placed around bets on Scorpus in exchange for 500 shares of the blue faction, shares that belonged to his wife and were secretly stolen. Tinax immediately instructs a young boy to tell Scorpus to win the match in a certain way, so Tinax can win the bet. Meanwhile, the king arrived at the event to watch the race with everyone. The contestants are then introduced, as it is a race for either ride or die. The game begins. Just as they race, we witnessed a major accident, as 2 riders died as a result of their chariot clashing together due to malfunctioning wheels. The people are happy and completely distracted from their grievances with the emperor. After both an extended and intense race, it ended with Scorpus winning the race. We then see Rufus crying as he had just lost the bet and his wife's shares because of his bet on Scorpus winning all round. After the games, Tinax pays the prophetess, who is then revealed to be his accomplice. Tinax plans to sell the blue faction's shares and accumulate enough wealth to start a new faction, aiming to disrupt the city's wealthy status quo. At the palace, Vespasian calls Titus and began questioning him about the delay in grain, which would make their citizens starve to death, as that is the responsibility of Titus, but yet he failed, by neglecting his duty due to his relationship with the Judean queen. Vespasian tells Titus he better behave or else he will be forced to choose a son who we believe is fit for Rome, which is Titus' younger brother. Quinn successfully get to Rome with the lion they caught from earlier. He immediately sought his sisters nearby, so in order for him to help them, he tried to escape with them, which didn't work out. Meanwhile, Titus goes to meet with the Judean queen and informed her about what his father had said, which was to break things with her, how he also threatened to make his brother as king. So she agreed to leave since it concerned his throne. Calla met her children and informed Quam about the Roman need for gladiators, so she motivated her son to apply for such role. Quinn did so as he get recruited as a gladiator, and while also negotiating for his sisters to be sent to Rome as well. This is possible due to the rising demand for gladiators with the increase in games. Calla plans to buy back her children in Rome since they would be placed as slaves. Meanwhile, Scorpus inspects the chariots damaged in the race and discovers one compromised, leading to the crash. That same evening, Scorpus arrived at Tenaxus to inform him about the chariot sabotage, which would have killed him had he not declined to ride the new chariot. Scorpus asks Tenax to find out who sabotaged his rig and eliminate them, so Tenax sets out to find the one behind the crime. He goes to it and almost kills the craftsman Lentulus, but later found out that it wasn't him, but Domitian's aide, Lucius. Tenax goes to visit the criminal who tried killing his friend. He informed Tenax that the one who hired him to do such job is from a much bigger world. This alone made Tenax angrily leave, but he promised to be back for him, but first he needed to deal with the one who had hired him. Elsewhere, Titus decides that he wants Berenice, the Judean queen, to be with him and acts against his father's wishes, as he will be emperor soon and no one will challenge him. Tenax goes to inform Scorpus that it was Domitian, the king's youngest son, who sabotaged his rig. The scene shifted to Quam and his two sisters, Ora and Jula, arriving at Rome with also their mother. As soon as they got a certain place, they all got separated, but Quam tells Ora to take care of their younger sister. The boss planned selling the lion Quam had caught, while also introducing Quam to one of the buyers. He informed him how expensive the lion should cost, as Quam believes the lion is protected by demons. Calla seems to be looking for the whereabouts of her children, and she decided to go sell her pearls first to raise money. As she did so, a young man then saw her, decided to inform his boss, saying someone is selling pearls. Calla asked the buyer about where the newly brought slave were taken to, which he directed her. The young men began following Calla for her money, which they eventually caught up to her and robbed her of her money. At Ludus Magnus, Quam arrived while also watching a battle. Some of the warriors, Flamma, who is the strongest warrior among them, quickly defeated his opponent, but now he is meant to fight with one of the slave. Nearby, Quam get rejected to be among the gladiators as he is too light to fight, but his master assured them that Quam is truly a warrior, and a fast one at that, a man who killed a lion with his bare hands. Domitian then set up a battle between one of his men, to which Quam struggled at first, but later defeated him even after using a wooden sword. Domitian is impressed by what he had just seen, but Quam isn't happy with all Domitian has done so far. Scorpus goes to test run his new horse, which was brought to Rome by the three young brothers from earlier, and loved it, as they are very fast. They sold the horses, but one of them is angry as he doesn't want to stay in Rome. Tenax proceeded with his plan, as he now wanted to sell the 500 blue factions he got earlier for the higher bidders, which he did sold for around 900,000. Tenax goes to speak with Domitian about him trying to raid the match from earlier, and Domitian need plenty money. He also informed him of how he planned to start a new faction, but now they will need the powers of Domitian to approve a new faction. Tenax believed this would favor everyone, especially Domitian, which he already found interest in, as he will consider all they had discussed about. Meanwhile, Calla found those who stole from her and goes to confront him. As she did so, the man begged her, as her pearls remained only one, he used the rest to pay off his debts. Meanwhile, the brothers are still discussing about leaving Rome, but the youngest still insisted on going home, but just then, they got informed that their horses are now all dead. Vespasian then called his two sons to discuss about who merit the throne, so Vespasian picked Titus as his successor, and Domitian leaves angrily. Scorpus get informed about his new horses dying, but just then, Domitian seemed to be arriving to see the horses, but Tenax failed to convince him to wait till tomorrow. Domitian goes to see the horses, but Scorpus found a solution by putting one of the horses in a sling. They informed him it is a Spanish technique to make them faster. Domitian is impressed by this and went on to inform Tenax he is now in with their plans. They called one the best physician who'd check out the horses. He then informed Tenax and Scorpus that there is nothing he can do at this point to help the horses, so they just need to bury it. Tenax threatened the brothers that no one must know about the horses been ill or else they all die. At this point, one of the three brothers then decided to go home at dawn, but the youngest of them all is now of the opinion they all stay as he can't leave his horses to die. They are all afraid that the emperor's son has seen them. Tenax planned to find solutions for the horses, so he goes to meet a man who sells poison as he plans to figure out who had poisoned his horses. Which he did so, and they told him where the man who hired them leaves. Meanwhile, the physician saved some of the horses, but only one had died so far. Nearby, two of the three brothers leaves Rome, but the youngest decided to stay back. At Roman Forum, we see as the slaves are brought out for sales while Calla hoped to get her daughters back. Tenax also at the event and seems to recognize a young lady as she bid for Calla's youngest child for 3,000, which Calla doesn't even have, making her win the bid. Nearby, Tenax bid 500 for Oro, but Calla then countered it by 800, which supposed to make her win, but Tenax been so big, he won the bid. She goes to meet Tenax, begging, hoping to buy her daughter for 1,000, but he doesn't care. At home, Tenax decided to talk to her, but she is proving stubborn. Just then, Calla knocked at his door, telling him that she is her mother, to which he allowed her to see Oro, but also informing her that he isn't selling. He then went on to telling them why he bought her, as he planned using Oro as a means to finding things about who bought her other sister. The mother and Tenax then came to a mutual agreement, and he also sheltered them. Meanwhile, Quam is visited by the warriors he defeated earlier, so he informed Quam about Flamma as he was going to fight him soon. So he asked Quam to help him out on teaching him things to help him out to defeat Flamma, and in return he will teach Quam how to fight in the arena. While they also plan to eliminate Domitian. At Mount Vesuvius, the physician took the boys to try find solution to heal their horses. Meanwhile, at Tenax stable, they kept on having bad news as one of the horses had just died. Calla and her daughter cooks while Tenax comes in and sent Calla and his maid on an errand. Antonia, who was the lady that bought Julia, is seen asking her if she has ever been touched by a man, but she didn't answer, so she goes to check herself. Nearby, Calla goes to meet her daughter Julia and gave her some fruit to help her. Calla goes to visit her son. At the stable, they plan giving the horses some herbs Scorpus had prepared. The scene shifted to the gladiators training. We also see Quine training with his new friend on how to be a gladiator. They both discuss on how Quine was able to hunt wild animal and how his father had died in the hands of the Romans, making it enough reason for him to hate Roman. They then fix the battle between the gladiators. Carrot talked to one of the palace guards to let her have a pass so she can go see her son, which he agreed to help. Vala get into the building and found her son Quine. They both hugged and she informed him about her sister been a bit safe. At the horses' stable, all the horses are now dead, making the three brothers very sad. They then left. Seems one of them is now fond of a young lady, but just as they leave the building, they then got informed that their horses are now okay. At Tenax building, he is well served with African dishes, but at that moment, they informed him that his horses are now okay, but for now they aren't fast, but would be by tomorrow when they get well. Julia then goes to listen to whatever her masters were discussing. Then we realized that it was her boss who ordered for Tenax's horses to be poisoned. While they also planned to eliminate Scorpus, she brought her husband to meet Julie, but she had already used red berries on herself, making it look like blood, faking her menses, keeping her away from Lord Marsus' bed. So immediately, Julia ran to Tenax's house to inform him about their plan of eliminating Scorpus. Scorpus and one of the brothers named Ella discusses about their race which they have tomorrow. Quam and the other gladiators discuss about their battle tomorrow with Flamma, as they already believed they would be dead by tomorrow. At night, some paid men began beating Scorpus, as their plan was to finish him off, which was successful. All this was all Tenax is doing as he plans to make Lord Marsus think his plan to eliminate Scorpus had worked. Lord Marsus goes to inform his wife about the death of Scorpus, and she is surprised by this as she wasn't the one who did so. Domitian goes to melt his gold as he plans taking a bet on all the four faction to lose, which include the blue, red, green, and white, as they would all lose tomorrow. While one of them stole gold and brought it straight to the Judean queen. She gave the gold bar to Titus, who went straight to Domitian's room asking him where he got such gold bar with the imperial stamp on it. Lord Marsus brought a driver for their race, and with full confidence that they will win, she promised to pay him 1.9 million per season. Seems the king is now sick, so Titus took his place for the event. Meanwhile, the gladiators also prepared to fight at the event, while Flamma is now overfeeling himself. The battle began after a short fight. Flamma quickly defeated his opponent with ease. Quinn and his friend goes to pick up their dead friend, while Quinn watches Domitian on anger and hatred. Then Tinax goes to meet Scorpus, informing him he planned all this only to save his life, as it was Antonia who ordered for Scorpus' head, so he had to improvise to save him. Tinax then arrived at the event, making Lord Marsus and his wife Antonia surprised by this, as Scorpus is still alive and Xenon is now driving for the Blues. Carrie goes to place a bet on Scorpus, and the race began with Scorpus and Ellie, who is one of the three brothers in the same team with Tinax Fiction. While the race was on, Antonia is now really scared that Scorpus might win, as her husband had placed a heavy bet on their own horse. After a long, intense race, Scorpus win, making Lord Marsus in pain, as they might have just lose all, as we get to see Tinax going to get his betting reward. While he also agreed to let Kala buy back her daughter, making Aura now free. Nearby, people began to rebel, as now the four faction had lost to a race. The king seems to have died, making Titus the leader, while outside the riot continues. The episode then came to an end. The remaining episode would be uploaded on our channel, so make sure you have subscribed to get updated on those who are about to die.